I got my best friend her dream job, and she used it to ruin me. I still remember the day I got the call, the one that changed everything. I was standing in line at my usual coffee spot, running on 5 hours of sleep, balancing my laptop bag on one shoulder and a gym duffel on the other. It was chaos, noisy espresso machines, a toddler wailing in the background, and then I heard the words, "You've been selected for the expansion project team. Congratulations." It was the kind of career boost people in my field dream about. A fast track to management, international travel, stock bonuses, the whole thing. I should have been over the moon. And I was. For about 10 minutes. Because the moment I hung up, I thought of her, Madison. We've been best friends since college. Shared dorms, shared heartbreaks, shared dreams. She had talent, no doubt. She was smart, driven, and had a creative edge I genuinely admired. But life had thrown her some curveballs. Layoffs, health issues, a rough breakup. And through it all, I had always told her, when I make it, I'm bringing you with me. So I did. I called in a favor with my manager, pushed hard to get Madison on the team. She wasn't even working in our department at the time, but I vouched for her personally. And I meant it. I wanted us to build this thing together. I imagined us flying to Berlin, late-night strategy sessions, celebrating wins over overpriced cocktails and rooftop bars, and for a little while. It actually felt like that. At first, Madison was glowing, energized, full of ideas, the version of her I knew from years ago. We stayed late, brainstormed like maniacs, pushed each other to be better. We were like a duo, the kind people remembered. I'd present in meetings and she'd fill in the gaps, always a step ahead of everyone else, but slowly. Something shifted. It started with little things. Like when I'd present a proposal and she'd casually interrupt with, "I actually had a different idea." Even if that idea was one we'd already discussed and agreed wasn't viable. Or when she started staying after meetings to clarify things with our boss, things I thought were already crystal clear, I chalked it up to nerves. New pressure. Maybe she just wanted to prove herself. I mean, she was new to this level, I'd been here longer, had more face time with leadership. So I kept giving her space, supporting her, even covering when she missed deadlines because she was still adjusting. But then came the annual strategy review. We were both asked to present our department's achievements and vision for the next year. We worked on it together for weeks, slides, data, forecasts, everything. But on the day of the meeting, when we walked into the room, there was only one name on the title slide, hers. At first, I thought it was a mistake, a glitch. I leaned over and whispered, "Hey, where's my name?" And she just smiled and said, "Oh. I thought we agreed I'd take lead on this one." We had not, but there I was, in a room full of directors, watching Madison present our joint work like it was all hers, quoting ideas I had written, sharing metrics from accounts I had handled, and barely glancing in my direction. And the worst part? They loved her. After that, it was like something snapped. She started going to meetings I wasn't invited to. Her name was suddenly on every email chain I used to lead. People began thanking her for projects I had spearheaded. And I was left wondering, was I paranoid? Was I overreacting? Until I overheard something that confirmed everything. One late evening, I had stayed behind to finalize a campaign deck. I went to grab something from the printer room, and as I walked past the break room, I heard her voice. She was on a call. I only caught part of it, but it was enough. I stopped breathing. The way she said it, too cold, calculated, like I was a stepping stone she'd already stepped over. It shattered something inside me. This was the girl who crashed on my couch for 3 months rent-free. The one I covered for when she ghosted her last job. The person I thought would never stab me in the back. I didn't confront her that night. I went home. Sat on my balcony for hours. Staring at the city lights and wondering how long I'd been blind to it. How long she'd been waiting for the chance to make her move. The next morning, I walked into the office like nothing had changed. Hair done, coffee in hand, smile polite but unreadable. But inside? I was a furnace of hurt. Betrayal, and something sharper, clarity. I'd always been the team player, the one who pulled others up, gave credit freely, and assumed people would treat me with the same loyalty I gave. But Madison's little performance the night before had made one thing abundantly clear: she didn't see me as a friend anymore. I was a resource. A shortcut. A threat, even. And I wasn't going to sit around waiting for her to finish the job of cutting me out completely, so I did what I do best. I started thinking like a strategist. I didn't lash out. I didn't start gossiping or venting to coworkers, that's not how you win long games in corporate. I started building a plan. Quietly. Deliberately, I began documenting everything. Every email she took credit on, every instance where she duplicated my proposals and pitched them separately, every moment she tried to isolate me from leadership or clients. I wasn't trying to sabotage her. I was just making sure that if I had to defend myself, I had proof. Ironclad, at the same time, I started rebuilding the relationship she'd been subtly eroding. I made time for coffee chats with directors, offered to support cross-team initiatives, volunteered to mentor 2 junior analysts. Not to show off, but to remind people of what I brought to the table without needing a spotlight. Quiet consistency has power, and people notice more than you think, and then, an opportunity presented itself. A big one, our company was merging with a mid-sized tech firm, and they needed someone to lead a joint transition team. It wasn't glamorous, and it wasn't easy. It meant long nights, diplomacy between egos, and managing unfamiliar platforms. Madison wasn't interested, she called it administrative grunt work. But I saw something else, access. To executives, to strategy talks, to the merger blueprint itself. So I raised my hand and took it on. No one fought me for it, they were too focused on the core projects where all the glory lived. Madison kept climbing the internal spotlight ladder, doing interviews for the company newsletter, being quoted in marketing blurbs, giving surface-level talks that recycled my old frameworks. Meanwhile, I was on late-night calls with product heads, troubleshooting integration issues, fixing cultural clashes before they turned into lawsuits. It was exhausting, but it was real. 3 months in, I got an email directly from the COO. He'd been following my transition work, impressed by how smooth things were running. He asked if I'd be interested in helping lead the post-merger innovation team. Not assist, lead. It was the kind of offer that made me stop mid-scroll and just stare at my screen. And here's the kicker, the position came with something Madison had been openly gunning for, a director title. I accepted. Quietly. No LinkedIn post, no office announcement. I let the HR process do its thing. And when the org chart update finally went out, the look on her face. It said everything. She stormed into my office later that day, furious. No knock, no filter, you knew I was going for that role, she hissed. Why wouldn't you tell me you were in the running? I looked at her calmly. I didn't know you were. You never said anything. And honestly? You made it pretty clear you were too good for the transition team. She blinked, caught off guard by how direct I was being. For once, I wasn't cushioning my words or trying to keep the peace. You used me, I added. You let me bring you into this job, mentor you, trust you, and the moment it suited you, you started treating me like deadweight. Don't act surprised I stopped giving you access. There was silence. And then the defensiveness kicked in. I worked hard. Maybe harder than you. You're acting like I stole something. No, I interrupted. You did steal. Ideas. Credit. Relationships I helped you build. And the only reason you're angry is because I didn't let you steal the finish line too. I expected her to yell. To cry. To try to gaslight me back into guilt. But she just stood there, jaw clenched, and then turned and left. We haven't spoken since. I wish I could say that was the end, but the aftermath came in waves. Slowly, people began seeing the pattern. She wasn't as effective without me behind the curtain. Her ideas became thinner, her results less consistent. And because she had burned the bridge with me so thoroughly, she had no real allies left to shield her from scrutiny. She didn't get fired. This isn't some dramatic soap opera, but she plateaued fast. No more promotions. No more speaking gigs. She's still there, but her name stopped showing up in leadership circles a long time ago. Me? I've since moved on. I took the innovation team global, built partnerships in 4 countries, and recently accepted a VP role at a different firm, one that values collaboration and integrity. Here's the thing. I've asked myself that question 100 times. Was I petty for keeping quiet about my promotion? For not warning her? For letting her find out the hard way, maybe, but I wasn't vindictive. I didn't sabotage her. I didn't take anything that wasn't mine. All I did finally was stop giving myself away to someone who had made it clear they were only in this for themselves. Sometimes the hardest lesson to learn is this: not every friend is meant to follow you into your future. And not every person you help will want to see you win once they feel like they're winning more. If there's anything I've learned, it's that self-respect has a price, and it's worth every cent. So, was I the bad guy? I don't think so. But even if I was, I'd still do it all over again. Because sometimes, the only way to move forward is to let someone stay behind.